Hey, everybody, we are so excited. It is our Facebook Live. It is that time, and we have Andi with us. Andi, I am just so excited. Thank you for taking a moment out of your day. I know you are super busy and you have so much going on with work and life and kids and the whole thing. So I just really, really appreciate you being here with us and taking the time to share some information with our community, let them see all of the amazing things that we have here in St. Louis and available to them. So let me, without further ado, introduce Andi. So Andi is a holistic living. She's nature loving. She is a mama who has a passion for supporting and empowering others and taking control of their very own health. She relies heavily on her intuition and trust in the body's innate abilities for caring for families and help foster a transformative experience that they feel really good about. It's an amazing attribute when somebody can have the knowledge and the professional skills and then that gut instinct to tell you which direction to go. So I love that. That's really, really kudos. She's also a certified professional midwife, certified by the North American Registry of Midwives. She also is a Reiki practitioner. She's been studying midwife since 2013 and has gained experience and wisdom while training under multiple CPMs and CNMs. She believes most ailments can be cured by discovering and addressing the root cause and utilizing the proper remedy found in nature. That's why we're additionally excited to have her, myself as a chiropractor. That is just like they go hand in hand. And so all of the things. Her care centers around the individual and taking into consideration their past and present from a mental standpoint, emotional, and a physical well being when assisting them with becoming the healthiest version of themselves. And it comes to conception, pregnancy, and then their postpartum journey. After spending 3 years from growing her home birth practice and then giving birth to her third child in 2023, she took a step back from attending those types of births to focus on being a mom. Her love for supporting women has inspired a new version of midwifery practice where she hopes to reach more families desiring personalized care and attention from midwives that can prepare them and have a very successful birth as well as the natural opportunity. So she is super excited, and I think it's such a unique experience that maybe a lot of moms who will be watching this will be able to have that additional thought process of maybe this is for them. But she has been working alongside an amazing OB, helping families to have an opportunity for a unique experience to be led by a midwife, but under the security of an OB attended in a hospital setting. So I'll definitely be asking her more about that as we go on. But she is also an energy worker, and she utilizes different techniques such as Reiki and assisting her clients to release stored emotional and trauma issues that they've been dealing with. She believes that we are our own best healers and provides the support and guidance to help others move what they need to energetically. She really enjoys aiding individuals in healing energetically, and pregnancy is not required for that. So without further ado, we have Andi Webb from Barefoot Midwifery, offering holistic midwifery care and energy work to families during intentional and healing experiences. So Andi, once again, thanks for joining us. So obviously that kind of gives a little summed up version of yourself. What made you become a midwife? What made you want to do that?
So, when I was a little girl, I remember reading this book called The Midwife's Apprentice, and I was an avid reader as a child, and I thought it was so interesting that these women, and the book was, I don't remember what year it was, but the midwives would travel on horseback. And so they would go out in the middle of the night and they would go and deliver these babies and then come home to their families. And I just thought that was so neat, like these superhero vigilantes going out in the night. And I kind of forgot about it. And then as I got a little bit older in high school, I decided that I wanted to be a helper of some sort. And I was really drawn to psychology. I wanted to be a child psychologist. I went to school for psychology and music with the hopes to be a music therapist, and that didn't really work out. And so I had a friend ask me to officiate her wedding for her in, I think it was 2012. And I was like, yeah, I want to help people like do things different. And you know what? I'm going to help people have babies, I think. I want to deliver babies outside the hospital. And then it was like this light bulb moment. And a pool that I'd never felt before.
Yeah.
And so I like did this deep dive into looking into it. I had always thought that birth in the hospital seemed weird about it to me.
Mhm.
And not that it's weird because I support people in doing that, but I felt that there's got to be different options, or what does it look like to do it differently? And how do we support people in that way? And so I just went full steam ahead into studying midwifery. And I actually became pregnant with my first kiddo during my first month of clinicals with the birth center. So that was interesting, but I got to like really learn how to care for myself in pregnancy and care for others in pregnancy in that time. And it's just, I couldn't imagine really doing anything else.
Yeah. Well, and there's no better learning process than you being the person going through it, right? Like you get to learn, like, this is what I liked, this is what I didn't, this is how I could have been better supported. What a great opportunity just to like essentially lead by example. You were talking about that book, and I love the show called The Midwife. I assume you probably like. I love that show.
Yeah,
and so it is. They are like these kind of behind the scenes heroes, right? Like they can step in and they can see there and they can be so encouraging, but let your body do what it was originally designed to do, and they just help support throughout that process. I think it's such a cool profession. I really, really love it. And we have so many patients that utilize those types of services, and it is just so rewarding to get to see how they're being supported throughout that process. And then after having the baby, and then all the things that get to happen during that time, and us getting calls from different midwives that we work with, like, hey, we just, such and such just had their baby. Like, can we bring them in? Could you come and see them? It's such a unique and rewarding experience, both personally and professionally, to get to be a part of just a major life event that somebody gets to invite you into. So I think it's really amazing that you get to do that. So then what does that mean to be a certified professional midwife? Like what does that actually entail? What kind of schooling does that involve?
Yeah, so there's a couple different routes to accomplish that certification. One, you can go through a midwifery program. So it's like a school program that you'll graduate from. I actually took a different route. It's a student self-led route called the portfolio evaluation process. And so I was responsible for all of my didactic learning and training. And then I had to perform the same clinical experience that those who go through an actual midwifery program go through. So mine was mostly self and apprentice based, but I am required to fulfill the same expectations through that process. And what that kind of looks like is you have 3 to 4 different stages. And for example, the last stage is where you're acting as the primary midwife. And so you have to attend 20 births as the primary midwife with your preceptor right next to you, watching you, of course. And I believe it's like 75 prenatal visits that you have to run. And then there's just thousands of skills that you have to have signed off on. And then in the end, you end up taking what's called the NARM, which is the big exam that, proves that you know what you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, if you think about that, it's not like, births happen every day, but for you to be like an active participant in 20 of them, like what kind of time frame does that take? Because obviously, like there's 9 months from start to finish. So what does that look like?
So actually, it's not just 20, it's 50. It's actually 55. And so you have like the first stage, you just are observing 10. And then the second stage, you have to assist at 20. And then it's, and then 20 and stage 3. And then there's 5 continuity of care that you have to do. So for those continuity of care clients, you have to actually be present through the prenatal period, through the birth and the postpartum, because they want you to practice seeing people all the way through. Now, in the other stages, you can actually like just attend like a prenatal and then a birth, or you know what I mean? And so it's a lot. Like I should go back and look at the amount of hours I spent hands-on training, because I would show up to births and we would be there either sometimes from 2 hours to 48 hours. So like it's a lot of time spent, and the program will not let you you can't get certified in under 2 years, so it has to take at least 2 years. My own process took 7 because I had 2 children in that time and got divorced, and I had 5 different preceptors, so I was like scrambling to find different teachers all the time, which it's kind of difficult to find a preceptor in Missouri.
Really?
And so I needed to stay in Missouri. I couldn't travel out of state to like a high numbered birth center because I had small children. And so it took me a little bit more time than what I had originally anticipated with, but I think it worked out really perfectly. It gave me a lot of time to really truly process and do my own self-study and everything in between.
Absolutely. Well, and it's kind of like whenever you do have that flexibility, there is maybe no real like timeline, right? It allows you to have what works best in your life and something that was already guided and laid out well before you ever even got there. So I love that, right? And like I said, you get to be a part of somebody's most memorable days of their life, right? Like when I think about when I have 3 kids and each time having all 3, like I remember exactly who was there with me. I remember exactly all the things, and you are forever a part of that memory. I just think like what a unique opportunity, and all of the tools that led you to that, and all of the training that you went through, and the 7 years of probably like blood, sweat, and tears that happened in that process, and all to lead you to here. I think it's just such an amazing thing. Like that's really, really inspirational. If we're talking about more about like pregnancy and things of that nature, what services exactly do you provide for expecting moms?
So my business is ran very a la carte like. So I offer full scope prenatal care, and I offer supplementary prenatal care. So the supplementary prenatal care, it looks like if you're seeing another provider, whether that's another midwife or an OB, and you are desiring some help with functional nutrition, energy work, processing things. I like to help people also keep their pregnancies low risk. So I work with individuals who have a history of preeclampsia, cholestasis, gestational diabetes that want to not develop that. And so some of the people that I work with that are seeing OBs or even some CNMs are individuals that are trying to keep their pregnancy more low risk. And so I work with those individuals on a supplementary type care basis. So visits are just as you need. You don't have to sign a contract. You just pay as you go. There is no obligation or anything. It's as you need it. The full scope care is for individuals who, most people that are free birthing don't want any type of care, which is beautiful for them. But I do have some people that, even though they are choosing to birth by themselves at home, they want to have some labs drawn or just get checked in to make sure everything's looking good once or twice. I offer care to those individuals. And then I have the collaborative care with Dr. Jeff Mormel. And so what that looks like is I provide most of the prenatal care, and he sees our co-care clients once a trimester. So usually around the start of care, around 8 weeks, and then after the anatomy scan at 20 weeks, and then again around 35 weeks for the GBS test, and then just to check in. And as long as the pregnancy is low risk, then I do everything else. And I follow the traditional OB schedule of, every 4 weeks and every 2 weeks and then weekly. And so that's what the prenatal care looks like. Sessions usually last around 50 to 60 minutes. And we are doing like a deep dive into nutrition, supplements, herbs, the emotions and mental state of the client. I'm an energy healer as well. So we work a lot with energetics and really help processing and removing any blocks in the body so that the body can be as healthy as possible and the delivery can be as safe as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess for those of you, those that are tuning in that maybe aren't as familiar with, there's obviously like hospital-based deliveries and then at home, like what are some of those, like how does that differ from traditional versus more along the lines of what other has an option?
So for people that are delivering at home, they are going to seek the care of a midwife that offers those birth services. home birth midwives keep their clients really healthy because they have to, because there is no emergency room like in the kitchen to go to if you need it, or OR. So they really focus strongly on making sure the clients and the moms in really, really good health. And then with hospital-based deliveries, OBs don't have as strict guidelines as us home birth midwives do. And even though my co-care clients are delivering in the hospital, it is still my goal and my intention to have their pregnancy as healthy as if they were delivering at home. It's also my intention to help them feel empowered so that no matter where they're delivering, they feel really good about it and really strong in their choices, and they're very well educated in the choices they get to make and everything. So it's similar preparation what I do for people if they were to no matter where they're delivering.
Yeah, with my oldest, I was like, gosh, 37 weeks, and he turned breech. And even through chiropractic care, I had top chiropractors, Webster certified, etc. And he was not budging. And we eventually elected to try aversion, and it was unsuccessful as well. Mm-hmm. And we waited, and he was not going anywhere. And for me, I ended up having a C-section with him. And I just remember as a chiropractor just being so like devastated that was the route that I was going. So in those circumstances, when there are things that you have this plan and everything is laid out and you have been healthy your whole entire thing and it just doesn't go right, what are some ways that you help moms cope with, hey, this worked out exactly as we thought, and others that didn't maybe go exactly as we hoped?
It's funny you bring that up because my last baby, my third baby, was a surprise C-section. We found out she was breech when I was 8 centimeters at home, and I've been trained in how to deliver breech babies. I've delivered one, and I trust it, but I knew my intuition was telling me that it wasn't safe to deliver my particular baby at home. And so I ended up in the hospital, and even at the hospital, I was yelling at everybody that I wasn't going to have a C-section, that I was having a vaginal birth. But I ended up consenting to one. But it's so it's been interesting. All 3 of my births have been completely different, and they've taught me so much in what different experiences can look like, and has really, really grown my empathy for mothers and what they can go through and what it looks like to process births after they don't go how we expect or want them to. And I like to talk people through like what happened, what were the facts, and what were you feeling in that, and letting them know like, hey, you made the best choice at the best time. Or if maybe they had a provider that didn't make the best choices for them, like, hey, I hear you. That was really difficult. And we kind of just work through that on an emotional plane and talk through it. I've seen people, so also outside of a la carte prenatal care, I offer a la carte postpartum care. So I've actually worked with mothers that never saw me prenatally, that just really, they need help in the postpartum, or they're wanting like the midwifery care for mom and for baby at home. But I do a lot of walking that birth, I don't want to say trauma, but we're walking that difficult birth space with people and talking through everything that happened and kind of help explain to them why this or that happened. I have a theory that babies choose to be breech often when the mother isn't in the most stable emotional place, or they aren't as grounded. And so the breech babies that I've helped turn in pregnancy is working through emotions with mom, and then doing some herbal stuff and all the things that I'm sure that you know about, like moxibustion and all those things. But it's usually an emotional thing that we're working through.
Yeah. And that kind of amazing, like how our bodies emotionally, physically, they have to coexist. We can just cannot have one without the other. Yeah, absolutely. Kind of similar along the lines, but what are some common concerns or fears that you see either like as mom is leading up to, or even during conception, or what are you seeing that's happening, and how do you help them work through that?
I think a common fear that comes up is there's a lot of women are so concerned about how bad it's going to hurt or if they're going to be able to do it. A lot of the people I work with don't want to use pain management or epidurals. Obviously, if someone's delivering at home, it's not even an option. But I do, even when I was attending births at home, I would have some clients state that they were fearful of they weren't going to be able to do it at home without, pain management. And so that's definitely a big fear that I walk through with people. And I like to remind women that we have these parts and we're meant to do this. And we've been doing this forever from the beginning of humans. And you have the capability and to change the language around it. And instead of saying things are painful or contractions are painful, contractions are an intense sensation that our body's showing us it's working really hard toward a goal. Mm-hmm. And so I like to help people change their mindset around things so that it's an empowering experience instead of a fear-based one. Mm-hmm. Not so often anymore, but I feel like a lot of women would be scared about tearing and delivery and what that would feel like and the healing afterwards. And so we talk through that. But another thing that comes up a lot are people are fearful of what their postpartum healing is going to look like. They're scared of developing a postpartum mood disorder. They're nervous about who's going to be supportive, if they're going to have the support that they really need. And so I do a lot of planning for the postpartum at the end of pregnancy so that they feel really good and confident and set up. Because if a woman is nervous about what's going to happen after the baby gets here, guess what labor looks like? It stalls. Baby stays high in the pelvis or gets in a funky position because, like you said, emotions and the physical body are all connected. And so I like to walk people through that and help them get to places where they feel really confident about their ability in labor. They feel confident that even if their perineum tears, it's going to heal real great because it's meant to, and that their postpartum experience is really planned out and we've got like all kinds of support lined up for them. So they feel good about that.
I remember, I don't remember what part, at some point in one of my pregnancies, it was kind of along those same lines because it's the fear of the unknown, right? And especially if it's your first pregnancy and you're not really anticipating or knowing, and all you're hearing is all these crazy stories and all these other different birth experiences. And I just remember somebody saying, like, no matter what, when it gets to that, the pain is just temporary. It's just a blip in time, right? Like, it is temporary. It's not going to last forever. It's just temporary. And I was like, oh, yeah, it is just temporary. It's not forever. It's not for any of these things. And there's a reason why those babies are so darn cute is, so they forget all of those things, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. That's what I always tell people. You can do anything for a minute. It's only that really intense, strong feeling for a minute to a minute and a half. And then you get a break and then you don't feel it. And I don't think a lot of women don't know that. Like, media and movies show us that the water breaks and all of a sudden you're screaming and it's the most intense pain you've ever had. And it's not like that.
Yeah. I have my 6-year-old daughter. She's very much into holding babies and carrying babies and very much wants to be a mom when she grows up. And she was like, but I think I just want to adopt because I don't want to birth a baby, and I'm like, it's so funny hearing a 6-year-old talking about she doesn't want to birth a baby. And it's media driven. It's things she's seen on a movie or something, right? And so it's very interesting how we can be influenced in that realm, even from such a young age, as it starts to put these concepts back in our mind. And it's exactly what you're describing.
Yeah.
Well, before we run out of time, I want to make sure we talk about this energy healing. So can you tell me more about that? What does it entail? What does that look like? Who's a good candidate for it? All the above.
Sure. So I am Reiki attuned, which means that I have essentially certain chakras in my hands that are turned on, we'll say, and I'm able to absorb energy from the environment and kind of project it like a light onto other people. And so Reiki usually isn't a practice where you're touching. Like, you can work on someone by just hovering the hands above them. And you can feel it. The heat that comes off of the person that's working on you is usually really strong, and it can feel very calming, relaxing. you can almost feel like just a release from the body. And so this, for all the reasons I just listed, is a beautiful thing for women in pregnancy. Like, we need that. But I also work on all kinds of individuals with all kinds of different situations and symptoms. Like, I work with someone who's in her 70s who has like decades of, she's got the best stories, but they are wild. So she's got decades of trauma and emotions to work through. And I do more than just hands-off work. I actually, a lot of my clients prefer that I do hands-on, and I do some just gentle body stretching and body work too. And I just, as we're doing the energy work portion of it, I'm also really intuitively led. And we also will talk. It's kind of like talk therapy too. We'll talk through emotions or memories that come up as we're working on different parts of the body. And you can physically feel the muscles relax and release. And what I'm finding from people that come back regularly is the tension's gone. It doesn't come back after we talk through and work through these emotions and everything. And so the energy work's good for anybody. I work on kiddos as well as obviously people in their 70s with any different issues or diagnoses.
Yeah. I think that's also maybe something that a lot of the general public is unaware of. They're like, oh, my shoulder. Yeah, I've had this chronic issue for a long time. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, okay, well, maybe you did have an injury at some point, and maybe you also have an emotional component that has now settled in there. So when we're talking about an emotional component and a physical component and how your body has to be congruently aligned, it can also congruently misalign, right? So it's like you have the emotional thing, and that's where something settles. And so exactly what you're talking about, you're able to, from an energetic, intuitive standpoint, talk through what this looks like. And so individuals who have been experiencing a chronic shoulder issue, I can adjust your shoulder all day long, but unless we handle the side of what you are doing, it'll probably resurface again.
Yes. Yeah. That's why energy work and chiropractors, energy healers and chiropractors, that's what's up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so from either an energy standpoint or pregnancy standpoint, do you have any like 2 or 3 little takeaways that either a mom can best support herself, or from an energy, like recognizing it's time to go see Andi, like that kind of thing? Do you have anything like that?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I would say like a couple tips. One is to like really get into your body and feel your body. So when symptoms come up, even though they're considered normal in pregnancy, it's the body signaling that it wants help in some way. And that could be supplements, food, or that could be needing to process an emotion. So if you notice you're starting to feel nauseous, like obviously that's a pregnancy symptom that is usually related to hormonal shifts. But if it's like persisting through second trimester, third trimester, like there might be something else that's going on here. Or if you're having like constant pain somewhere, maybe we do need to walk through and talk through that. So those would all be reasons to come see Andi. But yeah, just I encourage just everyone in general to find quiet and go within and see your body. Our bodies are constantly trying to talk to us and ask for help. And I think we can, like I've said tons of times before, is we can be our own best healers if we just listen. And so I like to help others tune in and listen to their bodies, either pregnant or not pregnant.
Yeah. Just being self-aware, right? Like so many people push off symptoms because they get inundated with day-to-day life, and recognizing like the amount of times we hear, oh, I just have normal headaches. Like headaches are never normal.
Yeah.
So how do we actually figure out why you're having headaches on a regular basis? Mm-hmm. Well, Andi, I have thoroughly enjoyed our time. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to hang out with us and teach the general public a little bit more about what you do and their different birthing options and prenatal and postpartum care. How would somebody get in touch with you if they want to seek out some of your services?
Yeah, so I have a website. It's barefoot-midwife.com. And so you can contact me really easily through there or set up a free consultation. I'm on the socials too. So I'm Barefoot Midwifery on Facebook and then the Barefoot Midwife on Instagram. And I need to become more active on TikTok, but I don't know. Some young person come teach me how to do that because I don't know how to do that.
Next steps. Love
Next
it.
time.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Andi. I truly appreciate everybody who's tuned in. Also, if you're watching this on the recording, have a beautiful day.
Thank you.